My name is Jenny and I'm a hairstylist and I'm going to be helping you do a quick cleanup during quarantine. This is not a full haircut video. This is just so you don't have a mullet and you feel confident going on your video chats and working from home. Just for the people who feel like they're going crazy and they need to chop their hair off, please don't. Please wait to make a big change at the hairstylist. We're all feeling a little bit crazy right now and you might feel like a change is going to help. It might help for a couple days, but it's probably not going to cure anything. So exercise, learn to bake, find a new hobby, but please don't chop all your hair off. Also, please don't box dye or bleach your own hair. Don't follow the masses, which are apparently buying tons of box dye right now. Please just wait, be patient, enjoy the process of letting your hair air dry, not having to style it. Please wash your hair less often and enjoy that process of your hair becoming less greasy and you becoming less reliant on shampoo and dry shampoo. Just enjoy the fact that you can get away with having dirty hair and take your time doing other things rather than styling your hair. If that brings you joy, do it, but don't get too crazy with the products, okay? Don't need to change the color of your hair every week just to feel like life is normal. Okay, so today I gave this mannequin a really grown out mullety style of men's cut, which is probably what everyone's gonna have in the next couple of weeks. Sorry, it's got some really wild bleaching and blue hair color in the back. It's a test dummy that I use in the salon, so it's going to be sacrificed for a short hair cutting video. So the main goal of this video is to give you a little bit of technique and background of how to use shears and how to use clippers and how to hold your tools properly and which tools are going to be your best and safest bet. Most of you do not have styling shears at home, and that is okay. If you have some cheap ones, that's great. That's your best tool if you have them. Some of you might have some teeny tiny sharp embroidery scissors from a sewing kit. These are super sharp and they're probably sharper than any other scissors that you have in your house, but be really careful because the end of these are extremely sharp, sharper than my shears that I have for cutting hair. So be super gentle with these. They're almost more like a knife than they are scissors in some ways. So those are a good option if you only have kitchen scissors as your other choice. This is probably what most people are gonna grab, and they're not gonna do the greatest job as far as giving you a nice precise line. So if you have hairstyling shears, they're designed for ring finger use. So today we're going to be cleaning up around the ears, which on this mannequin I left really long, you can barely even find them, and around the back of a mullet. So we're not going to be taking any length off of the top or the back here. We're just going to be continuing to cut around the edges as long as possible until you can get in to see your stylist. If you have a clipper set at home, I will be doing a very quick how to use your clippers video, but again, it's not going to be a full haircut video. We just want to do the bare minimum just to get you through. This does not replace your stylist. This does not replace your salon. Please don't use this video when you're not in quarantine. Okay, so I'm going to be pushing the hair forward. So combing forward so I can see the line that I'm going to be following from the bottom up to the back of the ear. So I want to follow the natural hairline. On a doll, it's a perfect straight line, which on a person is normally not. So I want to be following this shape a little bit. I'm going to push forward and I'm going to be cutting along that shape. And then when I pull down, it's going to be a little bit softer of a line. So you're going to start at the bottom and you want to find the hairline where everything stops growing. Up here, there's my hairline. That's where the hair stops growing. Now, how much length do I want to take off from that point is up to you. So I could give myself a little notch guide so that I know how much I'm going to be taking off. So there's my little guide. So I'm going to be taking off about 1 inch on that side. So I'm going to angle my client so that I can see. So the best way to do this is in a way that it's going to feel comfortable on your body. Okay, so I have a desk and things in front of me, so I can't get in on the angle that I actually feel most comfortable with, which would be cutting from the top down. So I'm going to cut from the bottom up. If it's more comfortable for you to stand further on the right side and cut down, that is okay, but you need to set your line with your comb from the top of the ear where you're going to be cutting the back of the ear all the way down to your stopping point, which is where you've trimmed already, and you're going to follow that line with your shears. If you're cutting from the bottom, you want to flip your comb. So your elbow is up if you're cutting up, your elbow is down if you are cutting down on the comb hand, okay? Again, this is just a super basic cleanup. I'm going to work in tiny sections, and then I'm going to comb it down and see how it falls. Comb forward, follow my line, comb it down, see how it's falling. Continue up. Make sure we're checking for the ear. If you would like to, if your client is old enough to do so, if it's not a child, you can have them hold their own ear down and out of the way, flap it down. That can be really helpful for you because you have enough to do already. My client has ears that are not flexible, so I just have to go right up to the back and work my way around them. So already, if I just have done that section, you can see how different it looks compared to the side over here. And all I've done is push forward and cut with my comb along that line. So this can get you through a long way without taking out the clippers. Okay, so we're going to continue the same effect going forward. So most of you already have a sideburn. This person does not have a sideburn. So if I created a length here, let's say my sideburn grows down to here, I would set the length that I want for my sideburn to be, and then I'm going to take the very front layer of the hair and I'm going to push it forward and I'm going to match that. Okay, so if I want my sideburns to be really short, you're only going to be pushing forward a tiny bit. And if you want your hair to be a little bit longer, to blend with all of the rest of the hair that's staying on your head, because we're not cutting all of it off, just that much, you're going to leave it a little bit longer. So you're going to comb it forward. I'm going to use the guide that I created for my sideburn, and I'm going to cut this length off. Again, your hair is probably not as long as this mannequin. And you're going to take the next section and you're going to push forward. You want to be able to see through the hair to your previous line. So if I comb forward, you can see here is my previous line. So if you can't see, you want to take away some of the hair and do a smaller section until you can see through it. It's going to be different on every person depending on the length and the color and the thickness of the hair. So pull forward, cut that off. And don't go too high because remember we're going to have to blend in this section here. If you just follow around the face, you're going to have like bang, which most guys don't want. And you're going to continue that, so you're going to push it forward and you're going to follow that line. Anything that reaches can get cut. And I'm going to pull some of the hair from behind the ear because it's extremely long there. Okay, so that gives me a little bit more of a view to work with. This is probably along the lines of what your length is already at when you're starting. Now I'm going to pull back and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to create a guide that goes up and over my ear. And you're working in very small pieces. Okay, so just pull back and I'm following the round of the ear here. So pull back, follow up and over the round of the ear. And you're using your comb as your solid line. You're not sticking your fingers in there. Remember, have your client tuck their ear out of the way if possible. And if not, you just go up and over behind the ear. This is just a quick cleanup. Okay, bring down more hair. Anything that reaches is getting cut into that length. Small sections. Make sure it is okay to touch the client's ear or skin with the back, but you don't want to go in at an aggressive angle. You want it to be flat. The back of this is not sharp. Again, if you are using these little daggers, you probably don't want to be touching against the head. Okay, so make sure you're cutting, if you need to comb under and cut against the comb. I would do that with these small ones. Okay, so comb under to pull down and then cut into the comb. So these are actually pretty sharp little scissors. But it gives you just enough shaping to get you through a little bit longer. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to comb forward again. Anything that reaches, we're going to connect. So I have my line from the bottom that I've done already. And I'm going to connect that up and over into the top of the ear. I'm just pushing the hair. Anything that reaches can be cut. Mannequins have really, really hard lines because their hair only grows to a perfect stop. It's all sewn in at a perfect line. And it actually looks a lot softer on a real person. Okay. So this is my new side angle. Sorry, wild hair here. But you can actually see the ear now in the outline. And I didn't change any of the rest of the hair length. So yes, it's gonna be a full side, but you can actually see the hairline compared to this side. So that's a big dramatic change in just a few minutes. So we're gonna do the other side by connecting across the back. So for this, you wanna make sure that your client is nice and square, head down, so that you can see straight across ear to ear. Make sure they're not twisting or tilting or moving around if possible. I know that's really hard on a child if it's a younger kid. So I wanted to talk really quickly about the technique of supporting the shears on the skin versus freehanding. So if I was freehanding and I was just floating my shears through the air, I'm going to have a really inconsistent line. Most people have waves and flips and twists and bald spots even along their hairline. So you have to accommodate what your client has. So I wanted to show, I'm going to be cutting from the left side towards the right side, where normally I would be cutting from the right across. just so that I'm not blocking the camera. But I'm going to show you if I'm opening and closing the scissors and I'm holding against the head, against the neck, I have a lot more control versus when I'm just freehanding it and I'm just chopping. Okay, so you want to connect side 1 to side 2. You want to use the lower tension side of your comb if you have the option. Comb straight down. Remember, our corner that we started in is my guide, and I want to take that straight across. So I'm cutting across, small sections, comb down, cut across, comb down, cut across. Stop and analyze, see if it's a straight line, if it's nice and horizontal. If you're missing some hairs, that's okay. You can go back in and get the tiny stubborn ones. Maybe they have a little curl to them, or maybe when you comb down, the hair is growing in a different pattern and you're not going to be able to capture them on the first comb. That is okay. You can always go back in once you have your general shape. So just continue that line around. Have your client check by moving up, looking around. Okay. Side 2. We're going to be following the same techniques. Again, you would travel your body around to the other side. At this point, you can choose to stand in front and pull the hair forward and cut. If I was standing in front of my client, I would stand on this side, right-handed, and pull towards me and cut up in this angle, cutting up and over the ear, and cutting forward in this line here. So everything is cutting up towards me. So I want to stand almost 45 degree to my client, so I have good control over the visual and the arm. You want it to be comfortable. You don't need to be standing off to the side like this, like I do. I have a desk in front of me. So again, I'm going to spray it down so it's consistent with what we have on the other side. Starting to dry, so you want it to match. So I have my line in the bottom corner that I've already connected from the other side, and I'm going to comb forward and cut. Caution when you get closer to that ear. Try not to block the vision while I cut. Up and over the back of the ear. Go nice and slow, take small sections, cut right up against your comb. Okay. From this side, pulling forward. I want to match my sideburns from one side to the other. This person doesn't have any, so I have to pretend that is the length of a sideburn, and then I use that as my line. So my sideburn is here. I want to be able to see it, so that's too much hair. Comb it back out of the way. You only want to be able to cut small amounts at once so you can see. Go up to about the eyebrow and stop. Don't keep going unless you want bangs. Pull another section forward And then you continue this until nothing reaches. If you have a classic men's cut, this is probably the cleanup that's going to be the best for you. And pulling back up and over the ear, using that same corner of the sideburns as my guide. Tiny, tiny cuts, especially around the ear. Have your client hold their ear down if it's possible. It makes your life much, much easier. Up and over. Okay, so now we have a solid up and over the ear and across the back. Now to connect what we did in the front here, because we pulled forward and then we had a disconnect there. We're going to do just a little bit of a square shape just to connect. We're not taking any more length off the top. So you're going to be taking your front section and you're going to comb a small bit around the face. Just a small section in front of the ear. And you're going to pinch the hair like you're doing scissors. You're going to pull out from the head and you're going to cut from this length to your short length that you created. So you're just going to create a straight line and that cuts off any disconnect that we had there. You're going to do a couple sections. I'm creating a new section, so get rid of the very front, move it back. You're doing about an inch width at a time. Pull straight out. Here's the section I cut above the ear. This is the furthest piece that reaches, and I cut a straight line in between. And let's do one more. If you want to get real fancy, you could continue this all the way around the head in this back section to take away some of the weight. Again, that is on you if you want to get real fancy there. You're doing the bare minimum here just to get by. Pulling forward so you can see my severe disconnect here. Here's the old length and the new length, okay? So I want to angle this so I don't have to cut too much length. So this is my longest piece on the top next to the part. This is the old piece that I cut, and I just want to soften that weight and connect it. Take a new section right behind that. I want to be able to see a piece of hair that I've already cut in the previous section, and if I can't, I'm taking too much hair. I want to be able to see my previous line that I've cut. You can see here and here, there's not as much to cut as I work my way back. Depends on the previous haircut that you've had. You might have more to cut, you might have less to cut. But that softens the bubble effect that you're gonna have as the hair gets longer and you continue to just cut the side. The perimeter, if you just keep cutting this, this will get more and more bubbly. So taking this straight effect is gonna give you enough to get by, you know, on your Zoom video calls. And this is gonna keep you from having a mullet. The top will continue to get longer, but as long as the ears and neckline are trimmed, most people can survive with that as their cut for many, many weeks. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a little bit. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to add a comment And I will be doing a clipper cut as well, just to show you how to hold them, how to use the guards properly, and how to do a clipper cut without getting too overzealous. So I hope you learned something new today, and I hope this gets you through. Please do not box dye. Please do not bleach your own hair. Please don't add bangs. Please don't do anything too wild. Don't shave your head. Don't Britney 2007 on us, because it's really hard for us to change in the salon. There's only so much that we can do in one appointment to fix you. So once you get back to real life, we can do a better job if you just remain calm and don't do anything crazy at home. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a great day.